sometimes I walk by people and I'm like, that guy looks like I'd hang out with him, or he'd hang out with me. Just walk by this dude that had like, he looked like a fucking legit wizard. And sometimes I just think, that guy's into magic. I can tell, because, you know, people just look the part. I don't look the part. I don't know what the fuck I look like, but this guy reminded me of like Alan Moore, who I gotta laugh at now because he wrote so many stories like V for Vendetta, where there's this dystopian future going on, and the UK is under all these sorts of harsh rules because of the USA. It's always because the US fucked up and caused a nuclear war, or because the US became, they got a leader who was Stalin-esque, or it's always the USA's fault, and then it's trickled down to good old, jolly old, merry old England. If you look at today, the US, and you look at England, yeah, it didn't turn out the way Alan Moore was fantasizing about. You can't do anything over there now, and they are just dumping more and more deadly migrants into there, rapists, murderers, robbers, at an extreme rate, and their police protect them. You know, like this current psyop going on with this guy. Now, this guy in this current psyop who wandered into the lady's house. We had a case like that here in Hawaii too, where a black African guy years ago, about 6 years ago, wandered into an old Chinese woman's house, and it was a big problem. The police came. He ended up getting killed because he attacked the cops, broke one of their legs. It was this whole civil rights problem. They're like, he just walked into the house. It's the same kind of thing. He wasn't acting violent. He just came into the house. And in our case, he was kind of acting violent. He was yelling at the lady to get away from him as he was sitting on his couch, her couch, taking his shoes off. And I'll get into that some other time. I've done videos on it and about why they that all leads into the failure of the George Floyd protest that he wanted to have here that nobody turned out for, and it made the local government really mad. But that's another story. So anyway, this guy that wandered into her house, who didn't do anything wrong, they didn't even arrest him because they said, well, he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't being violent. He just wanted to come into the house. Now, if you're looking at that guy and you're like, he looks familiar, yeah, because it's the same guy. You have eyes. I know that the media and everybody else will try to tell you, no, that's a different monstrous-looking African guy. No, it's the same guy. That's him. The same one that was got in trouble for allegedly stabbing those two kids, 6 months ago, something like that. It's the same guy. I mean, and I know a lot of them do look like that. They have that evil kind of no soul look, nothing behind their eyes going on. But this is the same dude. Now, it's either a psyop, which it is, or they let the stabby guy back on the street and he committed yet this new problem. Either way, it's not good. But the funny thing is the cops are on the scene when local people are like, take him in. The cops are standing around him, like, defending him. The British police, and that's what they do over there. I watched this other video where this guy was trying to show what was going on at these migrant hotels. They had taken up a real nice hotel next to, I think it was the O2, the place where they do shows and shit. And it was real nice. He's going around the whole hotel, like, showing all the shit, like how they work for Uber Eats and how they trashed all their bedding, how just all the bad shit they're doing. And they have this African dude following him around who is the head of security there. And always, security is always African dudes or migrant dudes. It's never British guys. They take up all the security because they fight for their own people. And they're telling the guy trying to film it, there are women and children in here. You are scaring the women and children. Like, there's no women and children here, just fighting age men. The CIA ain't paying for no, or MI6 in that case, or the WEF, it's all the fucking same thing. They're not paying for women and children to come over because they don't do anything for them. They want fighting age men. So the guy, the black dude, the African guy, of course, turns to violence, starts manhandling him, starts trying to pull his camera away. Cops show up. The guy's trying to explain to them what happened. You know, I was just taking pictures and then blah, blah, blah. The first thing the cop says is, well, we've heard some stories about you. Completely taking the side of the fucking migrants and the African dude. And so it's like he shouldn't even have called the cops. He got himself in more trouble. This is going to lead to something nobody wants. There's no other choice. The Gardaí has fucking shown whose side they're on. They've already showed whose side they're on and what they're willing to do. In the UK, they had this. It's funny, they had this like a poll. They're polling the populace, and only like something like only 20% of the white population was happy with the way things are going. It's a real small amount, and the black population in the UK was no problems at all. They're very happy with how things are going. Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why that is. I mean, so unfortunately, this is going to turn into, it's not just what's happening in the UK, it's happening here, it's happening everywhere. They want this struggle, this war, this whatever it's going to be, to come down to, because it's all it is. They're taking black people and they're weaponizing them against white people. And the people that work for the system are on the side of the black people that are being weaponized against the whites. And these are just other white people too. It's so fucking weird. It's like, how come you stand there, you see what's going on, and you're siding with these people? I don't know, is it Freemasonry? I know they're all sworn to some kind of thing, but yeah, it's not going to go on like this forever. I don't know why they think they can hold it in this fucking holding pattern. I mean, which comes into the idea that I think they want some kind of war, they want some kind of fight. It wouldn't be much of a war, you know, it would be it'd be a couple of days of annoyance at best, but I don't know. We're going to talk a little bit about the particulars of that when I come out of Target here. So yeah, it's pretty clear to most normal thinking people what's really going on. If you look at South Africa right now, the way those people live, the farmers, they live like they're under siege. I mean, they have to have all these sort of security cameras, and you know, their neighbors are getting murdered, people they know getting murdered, attempted robberies all the time. And they're just farmers. They're not like living any kind of rich, fancy lifestyle. They're just trying to survive over there. Well, what it shows is that whenever the white people become the minority, their rapid death comes quickly afterward. And in the UK, as there's getting to be areas where there are none, the few that are, you know, white people, the smaller white enclaves, as they get less and less, they get attacked more and more. Because make no mistake about it, they fucking hate you and want to kill you. That's absolutely, you know, if our population here in America ended up like it is in South Africa, we'd be living the same way, constantly under attack, you know. And that's just what it is. That's, you know, you can ignore it, pretend it's not happening, or you can, you know, come to terms with reality. So what's eventually going to happen is it's just the us or them kind of scenario is what's going to come down to. The sad thing is it's all orchestrated by, you know, the small hats putting it all together. They want the slaves to kill each other, but they know, like, I don't know what their long game is, you know. I don't think they know. I think they're doing it as they go and adjusting. I think I learned that from COVID, because they didn't plan on everyone listening to them and hiding underneath their tables and chairs. Yeah, I don't think they assumed that there was going to be that much compliance as there was. And there was that little period I talk about where it was like there was no communication coming from them for a couple weeks, like from the WHO and the leaders of this whole thing. They weren't really communicating with people, letting them know what's going on, because I think they were just like, wow, these idiots listen to us. They're in the palm of our hand. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And then all the different special interests kept jumping out of different shadows. Like, all right, here's what we do. You know, people that had different interests for their certain satanic group. Because it's all, while they're all on the same side under Satan, they're all split into different bad guy groups trying to outdo each other or wrangle more power from each other. And when they saw everybody listen to them, went in their house and hid, I think there was a lot of infighting going on about what the next move should be. And that's why it was quiet for like 2 weeks. I'm like, no one said anything. You know, it was supposed to be, you know, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. The hardest part of the 2 weeks ended up being really in the second year. Things started getting a little antsy, you know. But the, yeah, so they kind of make this shit up as they go along. They have like probably an idea of what they want and variables like, all right, if this happens, we have this and that. But the whole thing about the race war thing, I just don't understand where they're going with this, because it's like, we know, I mean, there's no question of who comes out on top of that just by population alone. Well, actually, the world population, whites are a real small, much smaller minority. You know, I think like 7%. But as we've seen in places like Rhodesia, one white fighter is worth about 1,200 of non-white fighters. I mean, that's kind of what's been proven there. You do have to have a fucking brain. You have to have some tactical idea of what you're doing. You know, and this stuff has been talked about. Like, there's been black people in their community trying to warn other black people that they don't want this kind of struggle, that they can't win this fucking fight. But you know black people are. They're very very confident. It's a perfect storm marriage of confidence and ignorance. You know, it's like when I see the black homeless guy, you know, covered in sweat, flies buzz around his head, trying to ask a Japanese tourist out for lunch, yo, maybe I'll take you out for lunch. I will go for lunch. And if you to kind of butt in there and go, what the fuck are you doing, buddy? Like, I'll just see if some lady wants to go out for lunch. All the ladies love me. I'm this guy. And they're always some guy. They always get some mythology built up around themselves. It doesn't matter who they are. Like the guy laying in the, you know, the gutter. He's always like the king or the star or something of his block or his or whatever. They always have some kind of story, you know. But yeah, when it comes down to it, that is no fight. Like, I don't understand the point of that. It seems like, you know, I have to think about it more. I think they can get other things done, right, without having to go through that fucking pain in the ass afternoon. Traffic would be really bad. They fuck up traffic. I mean, yeah, immediately the cities, places like this, might look like they're going towards the black way because there's a lot of them in the cities and they're very violent, and the white people that live in cities are very docile and they think they're allies. Like, oh no, I'm an ally. It's like, dude, you taste just like the non-allies and they will eat you. So all you're doing is hurting your own people and yourself, and they're kind of suicidal anyway. Liberals, they have this, that's like a suicide cult at this point. You know, they want themselves destroyed. You know, it's really, that's some trauma there. That's some trauma that makes them act the way they do. But yeah, so the immediate cities would kind of be, but even then, did you get a couple good, halfway smart guys or a couple of veterans, and they ain't taking the block. It doesn't matter how many there are. You know, you could, like, I'm telling you, one is worth 1,000 at least, you know? So that's fucking, I don't know. So, I mean, just to play the little thing out, all the white people wipe out all the black people. Just fantasy scenario. Sorry, I think I had a fucking orgasm there. Play out that scenario. Now what? Now we're going to be sitting down going, all right, we got rid of them. Well, why were they here anyway? And then we go straight for the small hats. In the impossible situation that the nuns somehow win, it would be with help from the hats. The hats would do something, because they couldn't beat us by themselves. even at 7% versus however many percent that is. I'm not a mathematician. I shouldn't be held up to the standards of one. But even at that, say they do wipe out all white people, then what? Liberals have this weird idea of a post-white society where everything is wonderful, and they have these murals and these kind of these health places, like these free healthcare places with these murals of just black and brown people and lesbians all together under a rainbow, and everything's happiness. And it's like those black people would eat and murder and rape and kill all the lesbians, regardless of if they don't care that they're lesbians. So they'd kill all of them, right? They'd get rid of them all. And they can't do anything for themselves. It's a problem they had in Africa too, in the cities when they were chase all the white people out. They couldn't do any of the maintenance on the buildings. Lily Gaddis talked about this one day. It's kind of unbelievable, but unbelievable but true. They started using the elevator shafts to pour their shit and pee in. See what's going on here? I don't know. They're going to the street around him, or is that when he pulled into the street? See, you can't fucking people here. They're so fucking gone. They're gone. They're so gone. They don't know what they're doing half the time. Nons, man. Nons. Yeah, so do you want like a non-world? You know what a non-world would be like? It would be chaos. It would be death. It would be murder. It would be a mess. It would be like Mad Max fucking times 100. Like, you imagine having like kids, right, take over the classroom. There are no teachers or in the school anymore. There are no fucking principals in the school anymore. The lunatics run the asylum. I mean, that would burn itself out in a couple of days, and you'd have people that wouldn't, because they can't make anything, they can't produce anything, they can't run anything. You need white people for all that shit to keep the society running. So at that point, it turns into roving cannibal gangs. No one can grow anything. No one can produce any food. So just the food source is other people, and within like a year, all you have is different cannibal gangs, riding around the wasteland, eating each other. Is that a good thing too? I don't know. I don't know what any of this is all about. No idea. No idea. It's kind of weird to figure out sometimes what their plans are. Sometimes it's pretty obvious. Or in the macro it's obvious, but in the little details, it can become a little bit more complicated, and I don't understand what's going on. But I'll be thinking about it till next time. Thanks for dropping in. Don't blame the teacher. Blame the school.